Okay, ready, Ken?
Just about.
You are listening to the Beyond the Rabbit Hole podcast with Ken and Doc.
If it looks like I'm looking somewhere else, Ken, or I'm looking at you on the screen, it makes it look like I'm looking at you. It's because the camera's over here. I have the two screen things going.
Okay.
So if it looks like I'm looking somewhere else, not looking right, actually it looks like we're like the Brady Bunch. Right? It's like you're in the square next to me. I'm like, hey. Hey. Hi. But it does. I thought maybe you think it's kind of weird because I'm actually looking at you on the screen, but I'm not looking directly at you,
Gotcha.
on the camera.
I forgot to tell you. So I think it was the last weekend or the weekend before. Karen and I were watching a movie or something, and I get this reminder, don't forget, your tickets are ready for the South Carolina Monster Convention. Remember, I had bought the wrong convention?
Right.
And I guess I never contacted them to ask for a refund or whatever. So I was just I was like, oh, shit. So it was just like, I was like, oh, damn it. I hope I had a good time.
Well, I think it would have been even funnier if you would have sent me a text showing me that you're in North Carolina. And to save money, to save me $35 or whatever, I decided to get on a plane and get a hotel and go to this convention.
Oh, that's awesome.
And you could have reported back on it.
Missed opportunity, I'm telling you.
Okay, let me play this for you. So anyway, that was our 20-foot Palo Verde tree that's on the opposite side of our garage. It toppled over in that dust storm, was it last week?
Yeah.
And so I have a camera in the tree because I use it to monitor the house. So I got a notice there was movement on this camera. And so you see the thing twirl and the whole tree comes toppling over.
Oh, my God.
And that's what made that crash, because trees, man, it sounds like the world's ending when a tree collapses or falls down. So I went out there, and it didn't hit anything, but it was blocking the entire garage.
Wow.
This was about at 9 o'clock at night, and we both had to go to work the next day. So I went out there, and I had to chainsaw it back enough for the time being so that we can get out of the garage. Well, the reason why I'm saying that, because the week prior to that, I was getting concerned about the big mesquite tree in the driveway.
Yeah.
Right where the house is, there's a big mesquite tree, and it's looming over the house. And I was worried about it 4 years ago when we had someone come out and trim it back. I wanted it gone, but Tammy wanted to try to save it. I just keep looking at it. Every day I come home, I look at the thing going, it's way too close to the house. The top is hanging over the house, which means I got to get up on the roof and I shovel debris and stuff off multiple times a year. It drops all those pods all over the place, so you got to clean that up. And that's one of 100+ trees and plants I got to deal with out here at the Ponderosa. So then we both agreed finally to saying, look, I think it's going to topple. And if it topples, it's going to go right on the house. It was a bigger tree than the one that fell over last week. So we had the same people come out, and they looked at it, and they says, nope, can't do it. I was like, well, what do you mean you can't do it? You were going to do it a few years ago. And she goes, well, I think I can do it, but it would take me about 3 days with the crew I have, but I recommend this other crew that could come in and do it within an hour and a half, 2 hours. They'd be done, have it all cleaned up. And she just kept looking at it going, I just don't feel comfortable with it, which I'm glad she said that. So she gave me the name of the person that she said she trusted, and then they came out, and they had a 5-person crew. They got up in the tree with the spiked shoes, and they would cut down certain sections of it. There were probably 20+ inches in width, if not bigger, branches. So they climbed up in the tree, and then they would rope it, and then they would lower it down. And you could hear when each of the sections came to the ground, and it wasn't like they dropped it. They just kind of lowered it onto the ground.
Wow.
So that's completely gone, which kind of relieved. It took a lot of stress off of me because I was always worried about that tree. Yeah. So now after last week, when the Palo Verde tree was sheared off at the very end and then the whole thing tumbled, I was like, and that's why I kind of nodded to myself, said, yep.
Good call.
I couldn't imagine what happened if that mesquite tree would have done that, man.
And that storm was big enough to probably do something like that. I mean, that was a mammoth, man, just some of the video I saw, so many different areas in the valley. It led to this discussion that I had with Karen about, they call them Haboobs, which I guess started in somewhere in the Middle East or something like that. Have these same kind of massive dust storms. Rain usually will follow behind it. But I said to Karen, I'm like, what would be really cool, and even you have tornadoes, hurricanes, they all have a rating scale for severity. I was like, for Haboobs, they should just use a cup size for women. So if it's a small Haboob,
it's an 8-cup Haboob.
Right. Like the one we had would have been a double D. That thing was mammoth, just huge. The videos people posted look like something out of a movie. You and I have been here so long and we've seen a lot of them, and usually you'll get one or two good ones a year where it's really impressive. I don't recall ever seeing the enormity of the one that passed through last week. It was wild.
Well, and the thing about that is there was no other damage anywhere. Honestly, I mean, it came from the south, and then it came through. So it must have been a little downdraft that came from the storm, because it knocked over right in line with our tree. It knocked over our neighbor's tree, but none of the other trees, because there's a lot of trees in this neighborhood.
Right.
The Haboob thing, I don't know.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, the word, just like zhuzh is kind of a made-up term that people use to describe something. But it's like, we used to call it a dust storm.
Right.
That's it.
Yep.
It's a monsoon or a dust storm. That's it. And then when they started calling it a Haboob, I'm like, what? One, it's a silly-sounding name. And then just like what you and I were talking about, you could change that into something that's easy pickings about what to call it.
And truly, in today's PC world we live in, it should be called a Habreast, not Haboob.
Well, no, and to go even further, to use a medical term, it's adipose tissue. Because if you want to get accurate and technical about it, that's what it is. My wife used to say that because she's in the medical field, and she would say, I don't know why people make a big deal about it, because it's just adipose tissue. And I'm like, what? Adipose. Yeah.
Definitely not as sexy sounding. I've noticed the last couple of years, and especially last year, because last summer was just a brutal summer, as opposed to this year, which was one of the best summers I can ever remember since actually caring about how hot it is. Because when you're younger, we didn't care about it. It didn't really matter. But the amount of posts from the 110 plus days and all that stuff. And then I saw somebody posted how July was an average of 4 degrees cooler than the average for us, which is a big deal. It was definitely the easiest July I can ever remember getting through. And then we had a couple of weeks ago, we had a 118 day or whatever. And it's just like they love fear mongering. I'm looking at the weather right now going into the week, and I think after Monday, everything's under 100. But they're not going to post anything about that. They're not going to say anything about how now we're going to be under the average. Now it's not going to be just like you're talking about with the Haboob thing. It's Arizona. It's going to be hot. It's going to be miserable some days in the summer. And that's just the way it's always been. So It's just crazy.
Yeah, you were talking about the dust storms that we used to get, and it is dramatic when you see those pictures. It looks like this giant wall of dust, like Dune.
Yeah.
Dune. That's what a dust storm, the head of the dust storm would look like as it's rolling through.
Yeah.
But when you're in it, the pictures make it look like you can't see anything.
Right.
You're wandering around aimlessly if you're in the middle of it.
Absolutely.
You can go outside, see it. It's probably not healthy to breathe all that particulates in the air and all that, but you're not enveloped in this thing like Mount Vesuvius erupting that just laid waste and covered Pompeii.
Absolutely. That's a good point.
It is an interesting phenomenon that you don't get a lot of other places. And that's why with the show, for those of you who read the description, a lot of it is about Arizona. We live in Arizona, and it is very unique being in the Southwest. And there's a lot of interesting and fun and different type of stories that we've been telling about Arizona. The other day I was thinking about this because there's a lot of things about Arizona that's interesting and can be humorous, but also to get people more in tune about who don't live in Arizona about what it's like here, and they can hear our stories, okay? So this is called Arizona, where the sun has a personal vendetta and history has a sense of humor. Welcome to Arizona, the only state where your car's steering wheel doubles as a branding iron. But beneath the sunburns and saguaro selfies lies a history as wild as a desert jackrabbit on espresso. Arizona has a unique history. It's got a Valentine's Day statehood. Arizona became the 48th state on February 14th in 1912. Nothing says love like joining the Union and immediately refusing to observe daylight savings time. Which I actually agree with. I don't mind not having to change our clocks.
I'll tell you what, that's going to become national, I bet you, within the next 2 years. That whole thing's going to go away. It's finally getting enough traction now to where politicians, everybody, they're just like, what, this is so antiquated, and why are we even doing this? So I bet you within the next 2 years, it'll be gone.
London Bridge is falling into Lake Havasu. We have the original London Bridge. It was shipped stone by stone and rebuilt in Arizona in 1971, because why not put British architecture in the middle of the high desert? The more I think about this, the more I'm starting to sound like Jerry Seinfeld.
God, I don't know why. So 71, I never knew that. I had thought it had been there a lot longer.
So up north, we also have the Meteor Crater training ground. NASA trained Apollo astronauts in Arizona's Barringer Crater, proving that if you want to simulate the moon, just head to Flagstaff and squint. I know there's conspiracy theories. I don't want to get everyone started about. Didn't happen.
I am the strongest proponent of Meteor Crater. I've been there many times. It is an awesome place to go. It is a really fun way to spend a day, and you learn a lot of stuff. It's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. It's a really nice kind of solitude because you're up north. The weather's usually good. It's nice and cool, and it's just a good way to knock off a day if you're just looking for something to do.
Well, Arizona is the copper capital. Arizona is the largest copper-producing state in the U.S. You could say it's got a real metal personality.
As proof that we have Rob Halford and Alice Cooper as residents.
Right. Arizona is also familiar with borough town politics. In the town of Oatman, wild burros roam freely and basically run the place. No mayor, just hooves and hay.
What are you talking about?
Well, Ken, I'm glad you asked. We're going out to the Arizona desert for a Beyond the Rabbit Hole podcast mini story time. The Oatman Massacre happened back in 1851 along the Gila Trail in what's now southwestern Arizona. The Oatman family, part of a Mormon sect, was heading west hoping to find religious freedom. One night after setting up camp, tragedy struck. Royce Oatman, his pregnant wife, Mary Ann, and 5 of their children were killed by a group of Native Americans who were initially believed to be Apache. 2 of the children survived the attack, 14-year-old Olive and her 7-year-old sister Mary Ann. They were taken captive and after a year traded to the Mojave tribe. Their brother Lorenzo was also attacked but managed to escape. He later searched tirelessly for his sisters. Sadly, young Marianne died while in captivity. Olive, however, lived within the Mojave for several years and was eventually released in 1856. Olive's story captured the imagination of 19th century America. Her chin tattoo, given by the Mojave, made her a striking figure. Her memoirs and public talk shaped how people thought about Native American captivity and frontier.
Oh, okay.
That was the woman that became the influence for that show you watched about the railroad.
Oh, Hell on Wheels.
And the one that had the tattoo
yeah.
around the lower jaw. They named a town up in Mojave County, Oatman, after the family.
Oh, wow.
And they have wild burros just running around town. So you go up there and they just are kind of wandering around. So it's kind
Wow,
of...
that is interesting.
And then, of course, you have cactus law enforcement. So cutting down a saguaro cactus is illegal. These prickly giants take up to 100 years to grow an arm, so they've earned their VIP status.
Very true. You don't mess with the saguaro, man. You do not mess with them. You get yourself in a lot of trouble. Kind of an interesting segue. So all the construction they're doing on the 101 right now, they're doing a widening project. And just by pure happenstance, I just happened to see this article that ADOT put out. When they do these types of massive construction jobs, the first thing they do is they have a special crew that goes out to remove all the saguaros, and they get put in a off-site place, and then once the job is finished, they bring them back in and replant them and put them back in the ground. It's like a really major operation that they do for all of the freeway construction that goes on throughout Arizona. It was really interesting, like the amount of energy and things they do to make sure that they stay protected and that they're taken care of after being removed. It's pretty cool.